residents. We will call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Commissioner Delegowski.
Present.
Commissioner Garcia. Commissioner Grace.
Present.
Commissioner Haskins.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson is present. Commissioner Khan.
Present.
Commissioner McCann.
Present.
Commissioner Schmidt. Commissioner Van Noort.
Here.
All right, great. So it looks like we just have Commissioners Garcia and Schmidt absent. Okay, any special presentations?
No.
Okay, so next, approval of the minutes. Any discussion or motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
second by McCann. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstain or no? Okay, passes. Next up, oral communications.
I don't have any cards.
Okay. Recreation activities update. We have it on our screens.
Yes, okay. There it is. Okay, this is very brief because we haven't had any events or activities since we last met. This is actually just forward thinking. We've got San Clemente Day coming up on February 28th. This is our anniversary celebration where we do a free swim at the Aquatic Center from 12 to 4, and then we have our youth fishing derby on the pier from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. If you haven't had a chance to get out to the fishing derby, it's a really special experience, and it's one of the very few fishing derbies we do out on the pier outside of the Ocean Festival. And we partner with the Department of Fish and Game on that, and Jim Holden with Fish for Life will be out there again as well, and Dana Wharf Fishing. And then we also have, coming up in April, is our sensational Springtacular. The giant egg hunt and the bunny will be there with lots of games and activities. That's at the Vista Hermosa Sports Park. And I also want to notice the commission that our spring registration begins on February 25th. That also includes our summer camps, which is a very big season for recreation. Your spring magazine will hit your mailbox probably next week, so look out for that, going to all homes. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you so much, Ms. Director. Next up, any old business?
Done.
Okay. New business, 6A, review of dog park location and feature survey results and direction on advancing site-specific evaluation and outreach. Looks like we have one speaker so far. Amanda Quintanilla, please.
I would have a little bit more time because, hello, Commission members, I'm glad to be here. And I was so impressed with this survey, and it was really well done. 818 responses regarding our community about having a dog park, and this is fantastic. I am speaking as a member of the public. I just wanted to point that out. And but I'm really impressed with that, with the survey. And I think the overall, I guess people had chosen San Gregorio Park, and I know it had been discussed by the City Council, bless you, previously when it was on the, there was talks about doing that. So that's really great. But I know that in Director Wadley's staff report it mentioned that possibly Linda Lane having an off-leash park, and you know, when I've walked my neighbor's dogs, two little Frenchies, there's a back area there that could be really ideal for that, for maybe small dogs, and I think that would be great. Also, Bonita Canyon Park, the owner of the two Frenchies said that Bonita Park in the back area would be good too, as well as a dog park. One of the important things that I stressed is having grass, and that is really important to have, grass. Basically it filters through the soil, of course, and that smell isn't, it's not permeated in any synthetic turf or anything like that, so that's really great. And I know one of the concerns with speaking with Jonathan Lightfoot from city staff regarding the maintenance of grass in our areas, like at Ole Hansen Beach Club, he had mentioned that sometimes the grass isn't as hardy or really sustaining in coastal areas. But one thing that he did mention was St. Augustine grass, which is really a thicker grass and it's more durable. It is a little bit more expensive, but yet it does grow pretty well. And I grew up in San Clemente with St. Augustine grass, and it was fantastic. But I'm really impressed by the survey, and I hope that it'll be embraced by everybody with your decisions. Thank you for your suggestions. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. All right, and a report.
Yeah, so thank you, Commissioners. I'm Samantha Wiley, Beaches Parks and Recreation Director. Summarized in the report is the survey results, just to kind of refresh our memory on where we're at. We have a budget for a capital improvement project, which includes the design of a new park and then the construction of a new dog park as well. And that originally was intended to be 2 dog parks, off-leash dog parks, and as we've gone through this process, we were potentially looking at a single off-leash dog park in the sense of what we currently have at Baron Von Willard, which is at Richard T. Steed Memorial Park, and also utilizing and setting up a dog run. That's kind of another offshoot of an amenity that off-leash dogs I know enjoy. And that gives an opportunity, if you're not familiar with a dog run is really just a couple of lanes. It's fencing on top of grass. Gives the opportunity for larger dogs to just run back and forth and their owner to throw a ball or whatever it may be to really get out some of that doggy energy. So it serves another dog population, if you will. And we've seen that model be quite successful as often a standard off-leash dog park. So there's some dogs that don't do well with other dogs, and they're better off in their own space. But they need to get their energy out. So that's the suggestion between both an off-leash dog park as well as a dog run. So acknowledging all that, as we've heard, the survey results are robust and they're very detailed, and I think that should be very helpful as we go forward to make informed decisions based on what the community wants. San Gorgonio Park and Bonita Canyon and San Luis Rey were identified within the survey initially, as that had come up through a previous site-specific master plan update several years ago, about 2021 or so. None of those site-specific plans were ever adopted, so they were only completed in concept. The only one that made it to the finish line was the Steed Park plan update. So we do have these concept designs for these other 3 parks, and off-leash dog parks were of interest then. I want to say what we hear consistently is San Gorgonio is an important space for off-leash dog access. We hear that from our residents that both live around there and other community members as well. And we also know that there's currently active off-leash dog activity going on. Our animal control officers are often responding to off-leash dogs in that park, which is currently prohibited. Dogs are allowed in all parks on leash, but they cannot be off-leash unless they're at our current dog park. So San Gorgonio seems to be a very clear choice, as identified by both the survey now and what we heard almost 5 years ago in our site-specific plan update. And as we're going through this process tonight, we're really looking to digest the survey and get direction. The staff's looking for direction from the commission on the next steps. And whatever comes out of this evening based on sites, we still need to go through that environmental review and review all of those different documents and any findings that have previously come up, whether that's EIRs or MNDs. So that would be part of this process. So San Gorgonio is the recommendation for the off-leash dog park. And then staff would also like the commission to consider a dog run within the Bonita Canyon Park area as well. We see a lot of dogs in that space also, and that if you've ever been to that park, it's a long grass area and should be pretty easy from a quick installation standpoint to put a dog run in there also. I think that is the gist of the survey. Again, there's open responses if you haven't had a chance to go through the attachments. There's a whole section of open-ended thoughts and feelings. The other piece that we want to talk about at some point, maybe it doesn't come out of the discussion this evening, but it will come further down the line, is the surfacing. That's another piece as we're going to design the dog park. This can be a polarizing discussion amongst dog owners. Everybody loves grass, we know that, and heavy off-use off-leash dog use parks they're gonna feel the effects of a lot of dogs on that natural grass. Now there are some varieties that we can try out, certainly. Currently our natural grass surface at Baron Von Willard, it's in tough condition. Oftentimes it's spotty with dirt areas that are just hard to keep up with the maintenance of that everyday use. Another option is wood chips or engineered wood fiber. Creekside Park in Dana Point has wood chips at that off-leash dog park, and there's some people that absolutely love that park. We hear that. That's actually in the survey results. You might have seen that a couple times. And then to the other side of that, in the other extreme, there's people that absolutely can't stand the idea of that. So there's lots of options. But really, you can also look at artificial turf as well. Keep in mind that even artificial turf has to be irrigated. It's got to be constantly watered, otherwise you will get that stench from just your typical dog. So that's kind of where we're at this evening. Boil it down. We're looking for direction on sites going forward. We don't need to get into the weeds of surfacing right now. That could come through the design process, but if the commission wants to give early direction, we can certainly start looking at that. That could help inform some of the environmental discussions and analysis as we go forward, but we stand at your direction at this point, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Yes.
So it'll be enclosed,
Yes.
and just because I don't have a dog, I'm not aware of how that works. Like the city isn't liable for dog bites or people bites or anything like that if we do an off-leash.
That's correct, yeah. So the way, it is very much a use at your own risk and beware of other dogs, and there's adequate signage that's posted, and it's something that we work with our insurance company on. It is enclosed, and the fencing is actually, there's kind of a pre-entry, if you will. There's 2 gates. It's double gated, so you can let your dog get into that first gate, let them sniff. The dogs will come rushing to the fence, and once you're ready, you can open the second gate. Dog park
I won't
signs.
bring my cat.
There's cat parks. There we go.
Yeah.
I have a question because I'm not sure the timeline of events. I know that the pickleball courts were a problem at San Gorgonio because of the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine dogs are also noisy.
That's a much different noise. A dog and a pickleball, they're very different sounds, but noise comes through the environmental review. That's all assessed.
Okay.
The difference, just very surface level, a pickleball hitting a paddle or a court is and the use of it and the frequency of it's different than a dog bark. Dog parks are not, if there was, 4 games going on a pickleball court, that's a lot of people. It's pretty rare to have that many people in a dog park at one time. From really rough numbers off the top of my head, when we had the large dog park before it was the pump track, I think we saw maybe 2,000 visitors per year. So if you kind of look at that over time, that's not that many people per year. So it's a much smaller number.
And so is parking also part of that review as
Yes,
well?
it is.
So that helps, having the scale of the number of visitors helps me kind of conceptualize it, just because I know parking is a concern there. And do we have an idea of the design? Is there, is it just like it's open to any suggestion? Because I think that the comments had some really, I think, prudent suggestions for dogs' safety, health, and then logistics. You know, if there's one side for maybe active dogs and another side for more passive dogs, or big dogs, little dogs, or is that all like down the line as well?
It is certainly part of the design phase, but I can tell you with certainty, yes, we would have a large dog park and a small dog park. I know there are comments in there that dog parks are a bad idea. We get those opinions often. Again, that goes back to Commissioner Grace's comment of it's really used at your own risk. We're providing a space for you to run your dog off leash. If you don't have a friendly dog or your dog doesn't play well with others, then you shouldn't bring your dog to the dog park. And I know the animal control officers do occasionally respond to incidences at the dog park. When it comes to the location within the park itself, for San Gorgonio, in the concept designed from about 5 years ago, it was against the freeway wall. And it would likely be back there again. There's a couple areas along that freeway wall that it could go. The nice component about San Gorgonio, it's very open grass space against the freeway. There's also already trees out there, so it provides natural shade, which is also, I think, something we've lacked in our former large dog park area. There was not a lot of shade, so that's another piece that is also very important.
Yeah, I was also concerned about the noise primarily. I think I have, both my neighbors have dogs that are noisy, and it really is disturbing to, if a neighbor is living in close proximity to a park like that, and dogs are barking a lot, and there's wide-ranging hours, it can be a real problem. So it would be advantageous to have a buffer of, at least a few hundred feet between any residential house and the actual park.
Yes, and the location at San Gorgonio would be the farthest away location possible from residences, which is against the freeway wall. And again, through an environmental survey, we would be able to understand that freeway noise is quite significant. So that would all be taken into account.
Yeah, I think the three parks that are proposed are more centralized than what the current facility is, and so probably you would get more use than what the other park was. It's pretty far away, and like you said, with no shade, it's open, so it wasn't real desirable. But a nicer area, I think, would get more people. But I don't currently have a dog, but I do think they serve a very valuable function in giving dogs a chance to be around other dogs, particularly when they're puppies, so that they can build social skills and become good, responsible pets. And in the absence of that, it's really hard to get it any other way but exposing them to many different dogs. And so this is a really important function, I think.
Certainly.
I think I mixed up the order. We're supposed to have the report.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
I just have it fire.
Well, is it okay to hear another speaker? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So the speaker would be Betsy, please. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Betsy Hartley, and I live close to San Gorgonio. And as far as the noise, where they're proposing to put the park is on the freeway side. I don't think it will affect the neighborhood at all, because the noise doesn't travel that way to the homes. So the pickleball courts were on the street side that were close to the residents. So I think that it's a non-issue as far as noise.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll close the public comment now. Well, what I could say is I think the staff in the city is just doing a fantastic job here with the location for San Gorgonio, being away. I think that's great, and I would actually really like to emphasize the study for Benito Canyon Park. I'm really excited for that also. So those are my comments.
One quick question. I saw several comments about Dog Beach. I know that's not probably what this was meant to cover. Do you have can you just share what the status of a Dog Beach is? I know it was at the council a little while ago, but I'm not sure. I don't remember if it was supposed to come back or what the current status is.
Yes, staff are working towards securing a environmental services consultant to come out and do some work with us on the impact of that.
Okay, thank you.
Doc? Want me to go ahead and make a motion?
Oh, I wanted to make one other comment. I think it's important to have like a nice seating area, because for a lot of people, one of the big advantages of having a dog is meeting other people with dogs, and it's kind of a natural lead into conversation, and that's why a lot of people living alone, have dogs as well as many families. But I think that'd be a great addition, kind of a centralized area where people could be sitting together, still see their dogs, get to know each other, and it would make it a nice place to go.
I concur, that's a lovely idea.
I think the design could include a coffee cart as well. That's where my priority lies.
Yeah,
Good.
I agree too, if we could add that to the notes.
Great opportunity.
Tax revenue.
Concession operation, I see. Okay.
We could make a profit.
All right, so I would like to make a motion to go with the staff recommendation that the Beach Parks and Rec Commission receive the dog park location and feature survey and acknowledge San Gorgonio Park as the preferred location for a future off-leash dog park, and identify Bonita Canyon Park for consideration as a dog run, and direct staff to conduct targeted site area outreach prior to returning with final recommendations.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second. All right, so all in favor?
Right.
Aye. Any abstains or no? So it passes unanimously. Great. Thank you. So next up, we have review of reserved lap lane use during public swim hours. A report by Ms. Director Wiley.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. Samantha Wiley, Beaches Parks and Recreation Director. To summarize the staff report, this is a consideration that the Commission actually asked to bring forward through the fee study conversation and the partnership review for aquatics. This is reviewing our reserved lap lane practice. There's not a policy in place. This commission body has entertained this conversation a couple years prior to this. So currently, and it says in the staff report that we do not offer reserved lap lanes any longer at Ole Hansen Beach Club. We sunsetted that about a year ago in an effort to maximize pool space and just allow as many swimmers to get in as possible. And that, from staff's end, had no issues with that. I think people have preferred the ability to just drop in and swim. So this evening, we're more focused about the San Clemente Aquatic Center usage. And as you'll note in the staff report, there's anywhere from 2 to 3 lanes that are typically available to be reserved in the 50-meter pool. And those reservation lanes can become challenging, particularly in our peak hours, which is really after 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock thereabouts. After 3 is when we have heavy usage for our youth programming. You can imagine we have swim lessons, we have water polo practice, there's swim team practice, there's private swim lessons going on. There is an abundance of programming happening starting at around 3:30 all the way up until 8 when the pool closes, or at least 7 o'clock. So we've been holding 2 to 3 lanes for reservation in the 50-meter pool. And we're seeing them be used, but what it does is it makes it challenging for anybody just coming in to drop in to actually be able to swim. So the staff recommendation this evening is to dial the reservations back to end at 3 p.m. on the weekdays. And they're not, from our observations at the staff level, they're not necessary on the weekends. We don't have as much of an impact because our larger pool is open. There's 17 lanes typically available. Some of that can be rented by the swim team at periods during the day, but the reservation lanes do impact the weekday use. So the staff recommendation is listed here just as that, where it would be modifying the lap lane reservations to be Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. and eliminating it after 3 o'clock on those weekdays. So I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. I do want to note that there is no fee or extra cost to reserve a lane. It's just you can reserve the lane. That's just how it goes. We do have people, if you don't cancel, you get charged for the lane to some extent. So, or it's noted on your account that you've missed your reservation. So administratively, it would simplify some of the process by not having it whatsoever. But we did hear that's important to some extent. So kind of this intermediary step could be just dialing it back a little bit.
Is the issue is that when it's reserved, one person gets to use it, and
That's
when there's
correct.
no reservation, people circle swim, and so the lane supports more people?
Yes. So sometimes when the lane is reserved, imagine it's 5:30 or 6 o'clock at night, the pool is packed, and there's 2 reserved lanes, and that one reservation doesn't show up, that lane is sitting empty. It's just not a great look. Our lap swimmers get pretty frustrated that there's an empty lane and I can't get in it. And we've seen where people just jump in the reserve lane even though it's not theirs. And then there's an altercation when that lap swimmer shows up late, they want to get in their lane, and then staff have to intervene. So it just becomes pretty challenging in those peak hours.
So this wouldn't be taking away lap lanes, it would just
No.
making that there, so they'd still be available for people to swim laps in. It's
That's
just
correct.
you would have to share if there's.
Yes. Yeah, at this point, the staff recommendation is we need to maintain public lap swim all day long. That's been our practice since we opened the San Clemente Aquatic Center. Prior to the Aquatic Center, there were varying hours. If you swam there long enough, I'm sure Commissioner Haskins remembers that the beach club had different hours for different uses. But with the expansion of the Aquatic Center and as many lanes as there are, we try to maintain lap swimming all day long, even if that's just 2 or 3 lanes, because we know our swimmers are looking for a time all day long.
So the couple of letters I read that came in, so you said that there's a charge for the lane if they don't show up, or they get noted, or?
It's noted on their
enforced?
accounts.
Yeah.
It's hard to enforce because there's not necessarily anything to take. We could remove their ability to reserve a lane. So that's sometimes we do it even at the golf course. If you're missing
Right.
tee times, you're going to lose your privilege to reserve a time.
Could you do something like, if they don't show up after 10 minutes, open the lane up? Something?
Yes. Again, that goes into that administrative nature of it, and you can imagine the pool deck's just really busy at that point in time, and our lifeguards are focused on the water, our front desk staff were not out there, so it does become a little challenging to navigate
How
in the
many
peak
people normally
hours.
show up after 6 o'clock? Is it a busy time for reserved lanes?
Our lanes are consistently reserved. Whether or not they're coming during that time, it's hit or miss, but they are consistently reserved.
And have we ever thought about charging a fee to reserve the lane?
It's been discussed. We've never brought anything forward though, to that extent.
Thank you.
Can I comment on this? I brought up the topic because I think you have to go back to the reason that we started doing it. This is the reason that all the pools in the area started doing this, is when there's a public health emergency, you have to maintain a 6-foot distance. And so this allowed people to use the pool and still maintain that 6-foot distance. And that it was implemented by Oceanside, Carlsbad, Laguna Niguel, all the pools. Since then, all of those other pools have done away with it because of a couple of reasons. One, it's not a very efficient use of the pool. It can put one person in a lane and force 3 or 4 in the other lane because they haven't made a reservation, or the no-show is a big problem. And Laguna Niguel tried to keep it going and had this very complex set of rules for how late you could be and what happened to you if you didn't show up on time, and eventually they just did away with it. And reading the comments, there was a couple that had some very good reasons for why they liked it. One elderly lady mentioned that, she gets jostled by, the adjacent swimmers, and that can happen. But I think that what I did is talk to a lot of people at the pool, and by far the vast majority of the people were in favor of just doing away with reservations. And that seemed to make sense, so I talked to the front office people, the front desk people at the pool, and they said that by far the vast majority of people and most of the conflicts come from these lane reservations, where it's extremely frustrating to show up and be forced in a lane with 4 people when there's one person in another lane and a lane empty, and you don't know if they're late or if it's not reserved, and so the lifeguards have to deal with it. And they don't know the schedule. They have to watch the water. They can't look at the computer and see whether somebody's scheduled. So my recommendation would be just to completely do away with it. But having said that, if there's an ADA reason to reserve a lane where you're rehabbing, I know a lot of people use the entry lane to, they've had knee surgery and they're not really swimming, they're just sort of water walking, and that first lane accommodates that. But to maybe make the second lane like an ADA lane where, if you're elderly and fragile and you can't really get buffeted around by some all-American swimmer in the same lane with you, then I'd be open to having, an ADA lane. But particularly, there's peaks. In the morning before work, from 11 to 12, people like to swim right before lunch. Lunchtime is a ghost town. Hardly anybody there from 12 to 1. And then, like Samantha said, once school's out, it's really impacted, and that's really frustrating. I just quit going at that time because you're just in a lane with a bunch of people. This circle pattern thing is nice in theory, but unless everybody in the lane is doing the same workout, is the same speed, you get to a point where you have to pass somebody, and trying to pass when somebody's oncoming in traffic. It just doesn't really work if there's more than 2 in the lane. So my suggestion would be just to completely do away with it, or at least during those really peak times, before work, before lunch, and after school, to take away those times, just the peak, the peaks. And
So then it'd be first come, first serve?
that works out really well. That's the way, it's kind of, there's an etiquette and kind of the way it's done. You could go to any pool in the country and that, if there's a lane empty, you get in it, and if they're all full, then you ask somebody if they mind sharing, and most people say don't mind sharing, and if you have a good reason for not wanting to share it, you could, ask them to, could you ask somebody else first, because I'm, recovering from the injury or whatever. It works out better, and it's a more efficient use of the limited pool lanes. So my recommendation would be just to eliminate the reservation system altogether.
How long are the lanes reserved for? In an hour, half hour?
Half hour or hour.
Yeah, either or. It's 30 minutes or 60 minutes.
And how much staff time is impacted, do you think, by doing these reservations?
That would be hard to quantify. They do it online. So the swimmer goes in and reserves it online. The staff monitor who's showed up and who hasn't showed up, so it's part of just that front desk operation.
I like Commissioner Haskins' rationale for eliminating the lane reservations. However, I just want to make sure we don't discourage our elderly residents from swimming. So like Commissioner Haskins was saying, if we could make sure to have some lanes reserved for them during the off-peak hours, I think that would be great.
I think at one point, I'm going to look to Ryan for this, or even Deke, I think we used to have lanes that were intended based on speed and your skill level. We've done that before, so we could implement that again, if that would cover what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, that was really the only kind of valid rationale to to keep a reserved lane is for somebody that, you know, just for almost medical reasons needs their own lane. And typically, they just sort of self-select, and if you've been to the pool, there's that, you know, where the steps go down that entry lane, I think it was the gutter lane, and it's real wide, so you got multiple people walking back and forth, and that works out really well. But for actual lap swimming, if it was the first lane that was reserved, that would be good. Or the other way to do it was, too much in the weeds maybe, but the last lanes, 17, 16, and 15, are sometimes reserved by swim lessons, water polo, junior lifeguard tryouts, lifeguard training, that sort of thing. You could, when they're not doing those things, use those last 3 lanes as reserved lanes for people that needed to come when you know, it wasn't busy and they get their own lane. That way you'd have lane, you know, 1 through 14 available to everybody all the time, except for when in the afternoon after 3. I do agree with not having reservations after 3 o'clock.
I also want to note, the commission, you might recall, we do have the option for somebody to rent a lane. So if they need their own lane to do their own exercises, that is absolutely an option, and they can do that at any time. And that's more costly. So what you're getting now with somebody being able to reserve a lane at no charge is kind of, it's a great service, but I think it's $28 per hour to rent a single lane.
We have that now? So what's the difference between reserving and renting?
At this point, nothing. So if you're a lap pass holder, you're able to reserve the lane at no cost.
And that's, how much is the pass again?
That just increased. Depends on your rate. Or
400 for adults.
400 for adults.
And it's
Do the-
200
do the-
for seniors or thereabouts, 150 for seniors.
Do the people that do swim lessons, and do they pay?
Yes.
They have to, okay.
The swim team pays, water polo pays, everybody's paying to be in a lane. And to some extent, the lot pass holders are paying as well. Everybody in the pool though, whether that's the swim team or a swim lesson or a water polo, they are sharing lanes. Even a private swim lesson is sharing a lane with other private swim lessons. So a private lane is pretty exclusive.
So the lap pass holders, they're the ones that get to reserve the lanes. So they are paying quite a bit, you know, I mean, at least, I feel like they should at least get something for what they're paying. I like the idea of maybe no reservations after 3. I think that would be a good start, and then we can maybe reassess it in like 6 or 12 months and see how that goes.
I like the idea of easing out of it. I think I agree that eventually it needs to be phased out. I understand where it came from during COVID. That was like a luxury spa swimming there because you have these enormous lanes that are meant for a lot of people, then you're getting them by yourself, and it makes sense why they need to go away. I like the idea of easing out of it for a lot of the reasons that we discussed, to give people who are used to it, that maybe come to rely on it, some time to reincorporate with the rest of us having to share lanes. So I like the idea of going with staff's recommendation of eliminating after 3 and then reevaluating in a few months to see how it goes.
Do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I'll move to adopt the staff's recommendation, which is to modify the reserved lap lane policy to allow 3 lanes, reserved lap lanes Monday through Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 3 p.m., and eliminate lap lane reservations after 3 p.m. on weekdays.
I'll second.
Okay, so we
Is
have.
it possible to modify that? Because the staff recommendation was for up to 3 lanes, because they sometimes, there's not 3 lanes now for reservation, depending on what else is going on in the pool. I would just make it up to, the same as what you said, except for up to 3 lanes.
Sorry, I should have said up to 3 lanes, because that's what staff, so you're saying stick with what
Yes.
exactly what staff, okay, so sorry. If I said that incorrectly and I skipped some words, which is entirely possible, should I just start over? Would that be helpful?
You can just accept that amendment.
I accept that amendment.
Great.
All right, awesome, great. So, We'll call the question. Do we have all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any abstain or no? Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you.
I just want to check, Debbie, you got the motion in the second?
Motion second, friendly amendment.
Okay, great, thank you. So, any communications?
A couple things out there circulating right now. We are in the midst of a RFP for a end-of-pier concession operator. If you have ever been to the very end of the pier, there's a bait and tackle shop down there, and that is a city concession operation. And we're looking for a new operator, so that RFP is available on the city's website. If you or a member of your community is interested in putting in a proposal in, we are looking for, it's food and beverage, non-alcoholic beverages, and you have to sell bait and tackle, it's a requirement, so there's no getting out of that. But we're very excited at the staff level to see maybe something new and exciting come out there that can kind of be an attraction for another food area and visitor destination. So that's open. We are also in the midst of putting together some proposal or a request for qualifications concerning the design of the 2 playgrounds that are up for replacement. So that's on the commission's work plan. We talked about that at our last meeting. So staff are hoping to have some designs back to this commission. I would guess in your June meeting is my thought. We should be able to bring that back to you as well. And then I mentioned about spring and summer registration. So make sure you check out your spring guide. We have new camps, we are expanding, but things do fill up fast. So if you or your family and friends participate in any of our summer camp program, please keep an eye out for that magazine and be ready. You do need to update your credit card information online. That we changed payment systems. So if you previously saved a credit card, you need to update it. Don't be stuck at the end of it all and get frustrated. We're trying to prevent that. So that's my PSA. And I think that's all I have on my end. I'm happy to take questions if there are any for me.
Do we have any applications for the end of the pier yet?
We have quite a bit of interest. Yeah, it's very exciting. We did have a question, kind of a site walkthrough, and we're going through the Q&A process right now with some really interesting businesses and also quite a few local operators as well that have expressed interest. So it's very cool.
So, thank you. I have a question. So I've actually been getting some comments about the concession stand, and these comments, they're saying that they actually want to be able to drink beer at the end of the pier. Is that possible?
It's not part of this process, and at the staff level, it would not be a recommendation. At least now, we'd be looking for council direction. I will say there's going to be some pretty big hurdles to get over. The first would be the Coastal Commission piece of that, because it does change that use of the pier to allow alcohol service. And then we would come head to head with the ABC requirements, which require the alcohol service to be fenced off. So now you're restricting access to the pier in some portions. So that would be challenging to get approval. And then there is, of course, the overarching safety concern with alcohol that far at the end of the pier.
Yes. Yeah. So in the city of San Diego, which is not the best example for a city, but there's the Shelter Islands Pier in Point Loma, and they actually have like some micro brew there, and it's really popular with families and stuff like that. So maybe something in the future.
Yeah, possibly in the future. It does surface. We've had the question come up through some of the interested bidders, but at this point it's a no.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we have subcommittee reports. First off, North Beach Community Association Subcommittee.
Our partner, the North Beach Association, is working pretty much every level of government in San Clemente, and we're standing by to assist when needed.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Sandcastles for Sloan.
Yes, so we spoke with Ron Malo, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but he's the Marine Safety Chief for San Clemente, and he assured us that the dangers of hole digging are included in the curriculum for the junior lifeguards on the first day of the program. It was actually perfect timing that we got in contact because San Clemente is hosting a sand entrapment training for all Orange County lifeguard agencies tomorrow, and they are also going to highlight the content from Sandcastles for Sloan in that. We continue to explore options with some safety messages on only the San Clemente stops for the Amtrak and the Surfliner. So we are exploring those options, and then we've been speaking to our representative for Sandcastles for Sloan about future options for maybe nonprofit or additional expansions of the safety initiative. Still early.
Well, thank you very much. Next up, we have Beach Sand Policy Subcommittee. I'll go ahead and give the update, or would you like to?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, great.
So the subcommittee met a couple times, once just among the subcommittee, then once with the city manager and the coastal administrator, and we have some good direction on items to include in the policy. I think we included some ideas like an overall statement for what the goal for the city is. Some further, more specific ideas are goals for the amount of sand we want to place on the beach, what we want the beach to look like after the sand, potential sources for sand, items on monitoring of the beach, regular updates for what's going on with the beach. And so I think we have a lot of ideas now. We've also reached out to a few of the local groups who are very involved, Save Our Beaches, Bring Back Our Beaches. So we have a lot of ideas. I think the next steps are we are planning to put together some draft ideas, circulate on the subcommittee, and then hope to bring a draft back to the whole full commission and to get some input from the public, and at least by the next meeting, if not before then.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Next up, Aquatics Partnership Policy Subcommittee. So it looks like, so the last meeting was not a regularly scheduled meeting, so I was unable to attend it, unfortunately, but it looks like I got put on this subcommittee.
And my name's omitted, and I am on the subcommittee. So
Okay, did you want to switch, maybe?
I actually been attending all the meetings,
Okay.
so I'm not sure maybe it was just a clarification.
I think they said they put me on it, but
Yeah, you're welcome.
I would like to withdraw because I'm focusing on the other one.
I am participating, so I'd like to be included, just for the record.
I also think it's Matt, not Dee.
Yeah, and I have not been attending, so
Sorry.
if I should be attending, I need to know when the meetings are happening.
Perfect.
You guys are on a secret subcommittee, you don't know.
All right. Wonderful. So, we're good with that. Anything else for aquatics?
I think the subcommittee has met with staff as well as the two partner organizations, and staff in the subcommittee will be reconvening to have
Thank you.
final conversations.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up, we have 8B, items from commissioners. First off, Peer Pride Foundation, Commissioner Grace.
Yeah, so we had a really banner year last year, so it was great. Fundraising did really, really well. We're focusing on, looking forward towards our 100-year celebration. And we're going to we have the annual strategic visioning session next month. So we'll be putting together some ideas and thinking about how we want to look forward to a great event for the pier, for the celebration, which takes a while to plan. So it's already 2026, so we only have, less than 2 years. But yeah, so a lot of it, also look for the railings on the pier to be starting to be replaced pretty soon. So that will look really nice, fix that up. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Sparky and Rainbow Sandals. I don't know if you guys saw that they gave a pretty significant donation for the rescue bronze statue that they're trying to get done for the 95th celebration for the Marine Safety Department. Gave $50,000, so that was quite an exciting thing. So it's all coming together down there. I think things are happening, and we're excited.
Wow. Thank you so much, Commissioner Grace, Rainbow Sandals, and Peer Pride. Awesome. Next up, we have any future agenda items. Anything? So this is something that I would like to ask support from my fellow commissioners about. Being on the beach sand policy, I'm learning a lot about the sand and the need, how much of a sand deficit there is, and it's a very, very big project. And speaking with the community, there's a lot of community and residents that are very for the sand and they understand it, but unfortunately there's many residents who don't fully understand like the benefits of the sand and that it stays and so forth. So what I would like to ask for support on is that we potentially discuss making an official recommendation to the city council to maybe invest in a public outreach education campaign. Maybe something like making a video or something explaining, what the city did and so forth. Our postal administrator, Ms. Leslia, she wrote like a 200-page report, and maybe what this public education outreach campaign could kind of like put that report into layman's terms or something like that. So, may I have support for further discussion to put it on the next agenda?
I'll second that.
Can I ask a
Yes,
clarifying
thank you.
question?
Yes.
Is this separate to the sand policy, or is this part of the sand policy that we're working on, is that we would be educating people about the purpose of the sand policy?
So this specifically would be separate, but in the sand policy, we may include something like this. I just think that it's very urgent, and we haven't really gotten that much support, like say from the county. Like the county's budget is $10 billion a year. So if we got the community a little more engaged, maybe Supervisor Foley would be more willing to invest in San Clemente and stuff like that. And maybe some fellow committee members could weigh in on this.
Yeah, I think that she is up to speed on the issues and has a strong interest in San Clemente and understands the importance of bringing additional sand. So she's definitely on our side, but I agree that some more public education would be really useful prior to whenever this measure is going to go up for a vote. Is that going to be like this coming fall that we're putting in it? Or?
Yeah, well, we don't really want to get into, well, me personally, this isn't coming so much about the measure, like, this is just more getting the community educated on the issue and stuff like that. And, if the community's educated, then maybe they can make better decisions on what they want to support and what they don't want to support.
Well, I totally agree. It would be useful. I'm not sure what the best format is. I mean, my experience was that since I was on the prior committee, that they had a lot of whenever we had these presentations pertaining to the coastal issues, they were very well attended, as long as they were advertised ahead of time in the newspaper.
So that's what we want to do, is we want to, maybe if I could just put like a recommendation or a little report together, and then we could discuss it next meeting and get everyone's input and, go from there. But yeah, I think events,
Sounds
education.
I would love to see Leslie Meyerhoff give a periodic presentation, because there are so many people interested in the community, but it's really hard to find out what's going on in all these different areas, and she's got a finger on everything. So that'd be great.
So to put it on the next agenda, do I need 2 seconds or just 1?
You need,
Or do we?
I have to think, hang on, to just get it on the agenda, I think you would need, there's 9 of you, so 3 people? Yes.
So-
4.
Okay.
I'll second.
So great. So,
So we have 1, 2,
and then Commissioner Delegowski.
Yes.
So we have,
Yeah. So we're just agreeing to put it on the agenda to
Yeah, for
address
discussion.
sand education for the public.
okay.
yeah,
And then
like to make a recommendation to the city council, on what to basically like invest their time in, like, what would that be? Like videos, meetings.
This is separate from your policy. that
Yes,
you're
correct,
drafting.
correct.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Great. So, well, thank you for everyone's support on that, and I can assure you that the subcommittee, we're working hard, and it'll be for a good cause. Great, so anything else? All right, wonderful. So I'll make the motion to adjourn the regular meeting of the Beaches, Parks and Recreation Commission on April 14th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at City Hall Chambers located at 910 Calle Negocio, San Clemente, California, 92673. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Grace. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone.